You know that feeling, right? When your plate's just overflowing, you find yourself saying yes almost automatically, but deep down, some part of you is really calling out for a strategic no.
Mm-hmm. Happens all the time.
Well, if you're looking to really get a handle on important ideas, but without feeling totally swamped, then you are definitely in the right place.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving deep into something pretty fundamental for, well, focus and just staying sane, really. It's the power of saying no wisely, often underestimated, I think.
Oh, definitely. We usually just see no as, a negative thing, a rejection.
Right, the opposite of yes.
Exactly. But our exploration today, it's drawing from this really fascinating framework in The Wisdom of Saying No. The author uses this term, psychedelic thought architect.
Whoa, okay. Psychedelic thought architect. That's a bold name. I'm definitely curious.
It is, isn't it?
Can you give us a little peek? What does that kind of lens actually bring to understanding no?
Well, think of it as a way to maybe step outside our usual kind of linear thinking about it. It encourages us to see saying no not just as like a reaction,
Okay.
but as a deliberate act,
Hmm.
maybe even an act of creation, a way to architect the life and the focus you actually want.
Architect. I like that.
Yeah, it's using no in maybe unexpected ways to build something meaningful.
Okay, building, not just blocking. So our mission today isn't just figuring out how to say no more often, right? It's about understanding what makes a no truly wise.
Precisely.
We want to give you some insights you can actually use, like right away, to bring more intention to your life.
Exactly. So let's start by challenging that basic idea that no is just the flip side of yes. The author really pushes us to think, what if no is actually the blueprint, the foundation for our most important yeses?
Huh. So not a roadblock.
No, not at all. What if it's the very structure that gives clarity, that gives integrity to what we do choose to embrace?
That's a really powerful way to reframe it. So instead of just turning stuff away, a thoughtful no is actually shaping what we let in, like setting the state for what matters.
That's it exactly. A wise no, as the book puts it, is basically discernment made visible.
Discernment made visible.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not about just rejecting everything that comes along. It's about consciously tuning in to what really resonates. What fits with your core values, your goals, like filtering out the noise to hear a clearer signal.
That makes a lot of sense. It's intentionality, not just plain denial.
Mm.
Now, the text uses some really vivid analogies to get this across these neural cross connections, it calls them. Now, let's dig into the first one,
Yeah.
the link between boundary and meaning.
Yeah, this one's fascinating. It draws a parallel to visual design. Think about like an image or a painting.
Okay.
The empty space around the subject, the negative space, it's crucial, right? It defines the form, makes it stand out.
Right. Without it, it's just a blob.
Exactly. So similarly, a wise no sets boundaries in your life. And these boundaries, they aren't limitations in a bad way. They actually define your identity, your focus areas. They define what holds real meaning for you.
Oh, okay.
Without those clear no's, your sense of self can just get blurred by everything coming at you. So saying no is like drawing that sharp outline so your priorities can actually be seen.
I can really picture that. The contrast creates the clarity. Okay, the next connection is no and the immune system. How does that one work?
This one highlights the protective side of a wise no. Just
Mm.
like your body's immune system has to fight off harmful invaders to keep you healthy,
Right.
your mental, your emotional health needs you to say no sometimes. No to distractions, no to impulses that don't serve you, no to those overcommitments that just drain you.
Okay.
It's about protecting your inner resources, basically, so you can stay resilient, stay focused, stay whole.
So saying no here is like
Mhm.
essential self-care. So
Yeah.
setting healthy psychological limits.
Okay.
Then we have music and silence. I really like this one.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Think about music. It's not just constant sound, right?
Yeah.
The pauses, the rests, that's the no in music. And they're absolutely vital. They create the rhythm, they give the note space to breathe, to resonate. They make the melody richer, more impactful.
Yeah, definitely. Without the silence, it'd just be noise,
Huh.
a wall of sound.
Exactly.
The silence gives the music shape. It lets you appreciate the notes. It's that interplay. And finally, the analogy of gardening and pruning. This feels like it pulls a lot of these threads together.
It really does. A good gardener doesn't just let everything run wild.
All
They
right.
strategically prune things, sometimes even healthy-looking branches. Not because they're bad, but to redirect the plant's energy.
Towards the best fruit or the strongest growth.
Exactly. Towards the most promising growth. You get stronger, more fruitful results. So A wise no is like that. It's a kind of creative constraint. A sacred pruning, the book calls it. It channels your time, your energy toward your most vital goals and values.
Making deliberate choices to nurture what truly matters.
Okay. Yeah. It's about fostering the growth you really want.
These analogies really do shift the perspective on no for me. It's much less about pushing away and way more about what we're actively nurturing. Now, the book talks about recognizing patterns, the effects of either having this wise no or lacking it. What are some signs we might notice?
Oh, the difference can be stark. People who haven't really cultivated a wise no often feel fragmented. That's a word used often. Pulled in a million directions.
Scattered.
Yeah, scattered, reactive, always putting out fires, right. And eventually just feeling burned out, exhausted. They end up being driven more by external stuff than their own internal compass.
That definitely sounds like that feeling we started with. So what's the flip side? What does it look like when someone has got a well-developed wise no?
Well, those who've embraced it tend to seem more focused,
Mhm.
more purposeful, and interestingly, even more magnetic.
Magnetic.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, when you're clear about your boundaries, clear about what you're committed to, it just naturally seems to attract people and opportunities that align with that clarity. You radiate a sense of direction, I guess.
Okay, so it's not about being closed off, but having that strong internal guidance. The text even uses the metaphor of gravity here.
That's right. No acts like a kind of gravity, pulling your life towards a coherent center. Without it, you can feel like you're just drifting. And the author makes another really powerful point. When everything is a yes, nothing really means anything anymore, does it?
That's true. It all gets diluted.
Right. It's the conscious choices about what we say no to that actually give shape and meaning. The book says it gives contour to our soul. Beautiful phrase.
Contour to our soul. Wow. That is profound. The idea that limitations, chosen ones, actually create meaning. Okay, let's look at how this plays out in different parts of life. The source mentions strategy, relationships, art, personal growth. Can we explore those a bit?
Sure. So in strategy, could be business, could be your own life plans. A wise no is about the discipline to maybe turn down several good ideas.
Even good ones.
Yeah, even good ones. So you can really focus, like hyper-focus, on one truly great one. It's about avoiding that trap of spreading yourself too thin, channeling resources for maximum impact.
Okay, makes sense. And in relationships.
Here, saying no might mean saying no to more superficial interactions. The book calls it performative intimacy. You say no to that to create space for real, deeper connection.
Performative intimacy, like just going through the motions.
Exactly. So maybe you say no to that last-minute big social thing you don't really want to go to so you can prioritize, say, a quiet, meaningful conversation with someone important to you.
Quality over quantity, then. Not just in stuff, but in connections, too.
Okay.
What about in art?
Well, you often hear less is more in art, right? Saying no to clutter, to extra details that aren't essential. That's often key to creating something powerful and focused. It's about stripping away distractions. So the core vision, the essence, really shines through. Like a minimalist sculpture, its impact is as much about what's not there.
Right, the negative space again, in a way. And for our own personal growth.
In growth, a wise no might involve resisting that constant craving for external validation.
Oof. Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. It's about saying no to measuring your worth by likes or what others think, and instead focusing on cultivating your own inner truth, your own values, trusting your internal compass over constant outside direction.
So across the board, this wise no keeps coming back to intentionality, creating space for what truly aligns. Let's get to the core of it then. What really defines a wise no? The source makes some really interesting distinctions.
Yeah, the fundamental point is this. Without a solid wise no, your yes just gets watered down. It becomes less effective, often driven by pressure, not genuine desire.
Right. A weak yes.
Exactly. So a wise no acts like a guardian. It guards your purpose, makes sure your energy, your time go where they truly matter to you. It shapes your integrity, making sure your commitments are real and sustainable. And it sculpts your time, protecting it from being frittered away.
I like that image sculptor of your time. And the book differentiates between different kinds of no, doesn't it? The foolish no, the lazy no, and the wise no. Can you unpack those?
Sure. A foolish no, the author suggests, usually comes from fear. It's defensive, maybe rooted in insecurity, or just not having the courage to try something new or face a challenge.
Okay. And the lazy no.
That one's more about avoidance, just sidestepping effort or responsibility without really thinking it through.
Got it.
But a wise no, and this description really stood out to me. It's described as love wearing armor.
Love wearing armor. Wow. That's powerful. It sounds protective, not aggressive.
Exactly. It's not about being difficult or shutting people out just 'cause. It's about being discerning. Protecting your most valuable resources, time, energy, focus, so you can actually give them fully to what you do commit to.
Hmm.
The book stresses this is a sacred act of self-honoring, and it's really important to get that this isn't about being selfish.
Right, that's a common misconception.
It really is. It's about knowing your own capacity, your own priorities, so that when you do say yes, it's real. It comes from a place of genuine commitment, full engagement.
This whole discussion has really shifted how I think about no. It's not just turning down requests. It's like a fundamental act of defining yourself.
Hmm.
And the book wraps up with some really memorable metaphors to nail this down.
Yeah, they're very potent ways to summarize it. Like, a wise no is the invisible architecture of a luminous life.
Invisible architecture, I like that.
Yeah, it's the hidden structure that supports everything bright and meaningful. Then it's the darkness that makes stars possible.
Ah, the contrast again.
Right. Without the no, the yes wouldn't shine so brightly. And finally, it's the spine of your sacred yes.
Spine giving strength and support.
Exactly. It provides the backbone for our most important commitments, making sure they stand strong and true.
Those metaphors are so clear they really land the message. So basically, a wise no is this proactive, discerning choice. It lets us define our boundaries, protect our energy, and ultimately lead more focused, more fulfilling lives. It's not just what we refuse, but really what we make space for.
That sums it up perfectly. And thinking about all this, it naturally leads to a really compelling question, one the book itself raises. Would you, the listener, be interested in exploring how to actually cultivate a wise no in your own life?
Hmm.
Whether that's in making decisions or in your relationships or even in your creative work. It's definitely an ongoing practice, right? A skill we can all keep honing.
That is a fantastic question to chew on. Thank you for taking this deep dive with me into the wisdom of saying no.
Yeah.
It's definitely given me a powerful new lens to look through.